to run a small business in South Africa? I'd like to get your thoughts on the number, on the Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom, as well as on the Facebook page. We'll read some of those comments a little bit later. Meanwhile, the National Youth Development Agency, the NYDA, is an agency that's aimed at providing young entrepreneurs with an opportunity to access both the financial as well as non-financial business development support to establish their businesses. Now, in light of the Global Entrepreneurial Monitor report, which revealed that the number of South Africans interested in opening up businesses has declined, we've invited the NYDA to tell us about their role and their contribution in helping aspiring young entrepreneurs out there to start up their businesses. To discuss that further, we are joined in studio by the CEO of the NYDA, Khathu Ramukumba. Mr. Ramukumba, very good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning to you and good morning to our viewers.
Now, I've read the introduction there, but if you can just explain to us, because some people are not really familiar with the NYDA and what you do, just explain that for us.
Look, in short, the agency was established through a merger of the former Umsebumbu Youth Fund and the National Youth Commission. The idea of the merger was to take an integrated approach to youth development in the country. The Umsebumbu Youth Fund was mainly responsible for the incorporation of young people in the mainstream economy of the country, either through employment or through entrepreneurship. So primarily they would have focused on youth funding as well as skills development. Whereas the National Youth Commission would have been tasked with the role of lobbying and advocating for youth development across all sectors of society. Now, these two mandates have now been collapsed into one, but the mandate has been further expanded to say that the agency must focus on everything that is youth development, whether you're talking about health issues insofar as youth people are concerned, young people are concerned, or you're talking about economic participation and so forth and so forth. So we have a broad focus, even though a government and the Act makes it clear that over and above direct implementation of these projects and programs that must assist young people in these activities, we must also focus on mainstreaming and facilitating youth development such that all people, all organizations, all entities across all sectors implement youth development.
Now, there were some complaints and some concerns that the process of getting funding from the NYDA is near to impossible. What do you say to that, and what does it take for a small business really to get funding from the NYDA?
Look, let me start by the second part of the question. The process of getting funding from the NYDA is a simple one. All you need to do, or all you need to be, is to be a young South African, at least of 18 years of age, but not over the age of 35. Have a business idea. That's all we ask for. Because with us, if you come to us, we'll assist you firstly with even registering a business, which will do pay for you for free, so you don't have to pay anything. We'll assist you with putting together a business plan, which you will be assisted by professional service providers, which will pay for, so you don't pay for it. We'll also, put you through an entrepreneurship development training program, where we'll tell you about what entrepreneurship is about, how you go about running a business on a day-to-day, how you deal with challenges and so forth and so forth. We will then, furthermore, give you the actual financing for the activities that you require in order to run your business operation. We will also assist you with market linkages so that we are able to interact with those who must buy your products and services. We'll also offer you mentorship from those with an experience and the know-how in the business space that you're operating in. Now, the question of complaints about getting assistance from the NYDA must be viewed in context. It's not that the NYDA is an ineffective organization. The reality of the situation is that we're living in a country which is youthful in nature. Statistics reports tells us that some 22 million people in this country are under the age of 35. You have an organization that is the NYDA that on average in the last 5 years has been funded at a rate of 410 million. What do you do with 410 million in this situation where you have a huge demand from young people? So you will get applications from, say, for example, 10,000 young people are looking for grants. But the reality is that because your budget allocation is only 35 million for grants, you can only help so much. So those that don't get help are crying, and their cries are genuine.
What is your view on the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor report that indicates that South Africans interested in opening businesses has basically halved in the last 5 years. Does it paint a good picture of our entrepreneurial spirit in the country?
No, it doesn't. It certainly doesn't. It certainly worries us. In fact, the Global Economic Monitor report reflects on some of the issues that ourselves as the NYDA had already identified. This is part of the reason why we said, for an example, we should be able to reduce the cost of registering businesses for young people. That is why we will pay the CIPC registration, right? That is why we will pay for a business plan to be put together. That is why we are doing all these things. We're even going to the extent of saying we'll move away from loan financing and give young people grants so that we encourage them to go into the entrepreneurship space. The same report that we're referring to says that part of the reason why there is a decline in entrepreneurship activities amongst generally people in South Africa is the fear of failure. When people have the fear of failure, they are worried about being taken to the credit bureaus and all those kinds of things. Now, when we take out that element of the risk of facing negative consequences out of failing, you then encourage people to, or you stimulate the idea of participation. So we're beginning to see a lot of young people being interested in entrepreneurship, as it were.
Khathu, there's a lot more to discuss, but unfortunately we're running out of time. Your advice to young entrepreneurs today who wants to start their businesses?
My advice is that the democratic government has put a lot of initiatives that must be taken advantage of. Maybe in closing, I would want to speak about the partnership that we've gone into with IDC and CIFA, where we have set aside 2.7 billion rands for young people. And I would just want to make a challenge to young people, because we are seeing a lot more success within the CIFA space, where CIFA is offering up to 5 million rand. But in the space of IDC, which is offering anything between 5 million and 50 million, we're not seeing young people. We're struggling to find, bankable and fundable business ideas. My challenge to young people is think big, dream big. The resources are there. The government is creating opportunities. Take advantage of them in honor of the generation of 1976, which laid down their lives so that you today can live a prosperous and better life.
So it's all about an idea, and bring it to you and you'll make it work.
We will make it work.
Khathu, thank you so much for your time joining us here.
Thank you.
That was Khathu Ramukumba, the CEO of the NYDA. It's over to Eben for some more comments.
Yeah, obviously you've been asking this question to everybody all day. Is it too difficult to run a small business in South Africa? We've asked this question since we started the show. Let's take a look at some of the tweets we've received, but also some of the comments on Facebook. Now, Unati Grootboom, he talks about a newsroom. The NYD is not rolling out anything. I don't even know it exists anymore. We've just spoken to the CEO, Unati. You should have listened to the CEO, and they're even rolling out more money and have more initiatives along with the IDC. Then MJ says, newsroom, it's not easy at all to start a business, if we can call it. Big businesses and government don't want to give us business and resources. We can't grow at this pace. It's not just a question of giving you business and resources. We have to think outside of the box during difficult economic climate. Unati's back. He says, newsroom, it's difficult because government doesn't support most of the startup small businesses, so people